Ben Barnes. If you weren't already absolutely obsessed with Netflix's new fantasy series, Shadow and Bone, where have you been? The show has everything you could ever want in a binge-worthy series. There is a gorgeous set, elaborate costumes, the most addictive storyline, and the cast of our dreams. And even though there are a few familiar faces, and some new ones, it seems that the entire team has this one thing in common: real-life drama. Just ask Ben Barnes, who plays General Kerrigan. Now, if you are sleeping on this magnificent brown-eyed actor, it's okay. We're just happy you are here now because he is worth all of the hype that he gets. The 39-year-old actor plays the mysterious, enigmatic, and brooding villain on Shadow and Bone. But it turns out that he was done playing problematic characters, like Kerrigan, especially since this isn't Ben's first voyage onto the dark side. One look at his resume and you will notice that he has played a number of villainous characters, from playing the devious Dorian Gray to Logan Delos in Westworld, and the ever-infamous backstabber Billy Russo in Netflix's The Punisher. Ben Barnes is no stranger to being bad, and looking good whilst doing it. So when he heard that he would be potentially playing yet another villain, he was tired of being typecast, and decided that he wasn't keen on auditioning. Well, that was until he read the script. Ben was hooked on the character and instantly joined the cast, but that didn't mean he was always a fan of playing the bad guy. There have been times when he felt absolutely sick when playing the role of Kerrigan. In an interview, Ben shared how one specific scene was incredibly upsetting for him to play, and it wasn't even all of the killings and slicing of people's heads that this character is known for. The worst thing that he does in the whole story, to me, is to use the knowledge gained from Mal that Elena loves blue irises, and then immediately presents her with blue irises. I was like, I don't want to play a bad guy. I want to play a good guy, shared Ben. So while we know that playing another manipulative and problematic character wasn't what Ben had been looking to do, we're just happy to see him take on the role because, quite frankly, we couldn't see anyone else play General Kerrigan. And we definitely feel the same about the next character too. Jessie Mei Li. Another actor, another obsession. Look, we don't know about you, but we can't get enough of Jessie, the newly discovered Sun Summoner. Watching her come to terms with her powers and new status as the proclaimed uniter of Ravka has been awesome. But wait until you see the things that Jessie is achieving IRL, especially given her difficult childhood. Growing up, Jessie was bullied at school with her older brother because of their mixed heritage, where she is half Asian and half English. Sitting down with Vanity Fair, May expressed how the kids at her school were extremely racist towards her and mocked her with a number of offensive accents. And it seems that her race would become another issue for her once she left those high school halls. Jessie shared how auditioning for mixed-race roles proved more difficult than she thought, seeing those parts go to either white or Asian actors and never mixed-race actors only deepened her identity crisis. And then Shadow and Bone came around, and it quickly proved to be the ultimate portal to Jessie Mei Li discovering exactly who she is. Playing the leading role led her to not only discover her deep love for acting, but a surprising diagnosis that she did not expect. Being on the hit Netflix show helped the 25-year-old actress learn that she has ADHD. Jessie looked into it after a few of her castmates noticed how certain behaviors that she had seemed to point to her having the chronic condition. Once filming ended, a doctor confirmed that she in fact does have ADHD. My whole life, I've been like, what is going on? And I don't think I would have got to that conclusion without this series, shared Jessie. So, while we are waiting to see if Elena Starkov will be able to harness her inner power, it's clear that Jessie definitely has. But that doesn't mean that everyone was up for the challenge of living up to their character. Just ask our next actor who was crumbling under the pressure, Freddy Carter. Now, many of you may already recognize the British hunk from a number of popular shows, but you have to see him as the ruthless gangster and con man Kaz Brekker. And while fans seem to think that he is totally nailing his latest role, it turns out that Freddy wasn't so keen on portraying the infamous con man. The pressures of playing a well-known character from a novel seemed like too much pressure for the seasoned actor. Fearing that fans of the books would think his version of the character wasn't good enough, Freddy almost gave up on the role of a lifetime. I desperately wanted to do the character justice. I love the books so much. They're such richly drawn characters. and I felt a sort of big weight of responsibility to do that," shared Carter. But before he could accept the role, he was reminded by the producers that he had room to make his character Kaz unique. Turns out that is all it took for Freddy to fully embrace the role and explore his newfound creative freedom. But that wasn't the only worry that the 28-year-old actor had. This would be the first time in his career that he would be playing a character with a physical disability. Being an able-bodied person playing a disabled individual also had Freddy worried that by taking on the role, he would be making himself vulnerable to being #cancelled. And so, he threw himself into deep research to make sure that his character's use of the cane looked more authentic and inoffensive. And while the actor definitely did take on some hate, his fans are jumping to his rescue, and he couldn't be more appreciative of their undying support. But Freddy isn't the only one experiencing the dark side of fame. One of his co-stars is revealing that he is completely terrified of his growing popularity and what it is doing to his personal life. Archie Renaux. Listen, if you have read the Shadow and Bone books, then you are either part of two different camps. The first one totally loves Alina Starkov's lifelong friend, Mal, or you are a part of the second camp that sees him as the rather clingy friend. Regardless of what your thoughts are on these two's friendship, one thing we can all agree on is that we are so here for Archie Renaux playing the coveted role, especially since Netflix producers totally revamped Mal's character. And any quick Google search will prove that he is doing a fantastic job, so much so that he is already booking new upcoming gigs, from booking a major role on one of the most popular streaming sites to being friends with an all-star cast and securing new film deals. Life post-Shadow and Bone was all fun and games for Archie, until he realized that being a part of the hit series meant that he would be giving up something very important to him, his freedom. Suddenly, Archie found himself being exposed to the dark side of fame, and it was the birth of his child that made him come to this pretty harsh realization. After Archie's girlfriend welcomed their daughter, Archie quickly noticed how, for the first time in his career, people were being incredibly invasive. All of a sudden, paparazzi were standing outside his home, people were trying to share photos of his kid online, and his girlfriend was experiencing severe cyberbullying. This career that he worked so hard to create all of a sudden looked a lot less glamorous than he had thought. And while being in the limelight is a part of the job, Archie will not tolerate seeing anything about his daughter without his consent. But my baby, she didn't ask her baby photos to go about the internet. So that thought process led me to think, maybe I'm going to keep everything private. So while becoming a famous face definitely has its perks, there is oftentimes a pretty dark side that people don't want to talk about. And sometimes that means taking on literal physical wounds in the name of being an actor. Just ask our next actress, Amita Suman. Amita will be the very first person to tell you that she is by no means a stealthy acrobatic assassin when it comes to real life. However, as soon as the cameras are rolling, trust the actress to become a total badass. Watching the 23-year-old embrace her role as Inej has fans totally under her spell, especially given the fact that her character didn't originally appear until the Six of Crows spin-off series. But Amita was ready to make up for lost time, and she was going to do it the best way she knew how: disrupt her space and make room for more women of color. Playing a butt-kicking ninja was fun for Amita, but her character represented a lot more than that to her. When I was at drama school when I was growing up as an actress, people always said, "You need to get your Indian accent down. You're going to be getting the stereotypical roles," she says. Amita felt this great internal battle where she didn't want to be typecast in the industry, but she also wanted to be a part of fair and equal representation. The actress even refers to this time in her life as the most difficult period in her professional career. But playing Inej quickly faded all of those insecurities and pushed her to embrace a new challenge, one that was more physical than it was personal. As we know, a lot of Inej's scenes require her to be battling warriors, dodging and ducking from knives, and scaling ridiculously tall buildings. Playing the Master Thief definitely meant that she would have to endure a couple of bruises and scratches along the way, and she has the battle wounds to prove it. Doing a few of her own stunts, Amita had an accident during rehearsals where they were practicing for a major fight scene. Whilst being held up by a belt, she got cut by one of the props and needed immediate medical attention. But as we know, she is a total warrior queen and took the accident like a champ. In fact, after a quick visit to the medics, she was back on set doing what she does best, and she is looking back on the moment positively too. Amita mentions how taking on the role has also forced her to prioritize her physical health. Growing up, that was never something that she focused on until now. She is being pushed to her physical limits and loves how fit this role is forcing her to become. According to the brunette star, watching all of the incredible things that her body can do has been one of her favorite parts about taking on the show, and we are kind of in awe of what she can do too. That being said, we want to know what else you are in awe of. Which character had the most surprising, dramatic backstory? Let us know in the comments section below. And as always, thanks for watching.